Stranger Things Season 5, Volume 1 has started streaming on Netflix, and we immediately noticed something shocking about Vecna, as he looked completely different from the monster who terrorized Hawkins in Season 4. And you are definitely not prepared for the real story behind Vecna's new look, because it's a lot more than you'd think. Jamie Campbell Bower returns as the Stranger Things' most terrifying villain, but this time around, his character is sporting a dramatically altered appearance that's got everyone talking and joking. The transformation is so striking that it can't be ignored, and the fans have found exciting ways to joke about it, with some saying he got his body done, but the real story is insane, and you can't miss any part of it as we get to it soon. Interestingly, the changes are not just dramatic. They cover Vecna's entire body, with organic-looking branches that make him resemble something between a human and a tree. Rather than having a solid torso and limbs like in Season 4, his entire form appears distinctly shaped and partitioned like knotted roots folded over themselves. Some fans immediately started comparing him to Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy, but the new Vecna is darker, scarier, and infinitely more monstrous. Vecna has pulled many stunts, and now his ability to weaponize his body adds another layer of terror. Vecna now shoots out extended branches from his arms to grab and impale his victims, making him deadlier than ever before. The vines near his head and shoulders have taken on a Medusa-like appearance, creating natural armor around his most vulnerable areas. His mutilated arm and hand features extendable, sharp claws that make his Season 4 version look tame by comparison. But what's really catching people's attention is how much skinnier he appears. Where Season 4's Vecna had a broader, more imposing build, Season 5's version looks emaciated, exposed, and almost more terrifying. And we are yet to touch on the scariest part, which is the reason behind the body transformation. The transformation required an entirely new approach to prosthetics and makeup. Jamie revealed that Vecna's appearance in Season 5 was definitely a blend of practical effects and CGI, unlike previous seasons. On a practical level, the face, shoulders, and hands are prosthetics, but everything else is a morph suit printed with Vecna's Season 4 body pattern, serving as a reference for the visual effects team. So, the new body sits on the old one, which still doesn't explain why it happened, and you have to brace up as we are almost there. Prosthetic makeup department head Barry Gower, the 5-time Emmy winner who also created Game of Thrones Night King, led the transformation. Gower and his team worked closely with visual effects supervisor Michael Maher to create what they called a beautiful marriage of practical and digital effects. The process took about 3 months from concept to completion. Also, creating the original Vecna suit for Season 4 had been an enormous undertaking. The full-body costume consisted of approximately 26 overlapping prosthetic pieces that fit together perfectly. Gower's team used foam latex for lightweight coverage on Vecna's left arm and lower body, while silicone-based materials covered his face, shoulders, chest, back, and right arm, since the clear material could be dyed to match the creature's skin pigment. The application process remained just as intense for Season 5. Jamie endured between 6 and 8 hours in the makeup chair every single filming day. The actor would wake up early to get the prosthetics applied before being called to set. Gower praised Jamie's patience and stamina throughout these marathon sessions, and it's very important to get through the original makeup process to fully understand the story behind the new look when we start explaining it. What made Season 5's approach different was the strategic decision about which parts to build practically versus which to enhance digitally. Gower explained that with all the moving parts and elements they wanted to change for Vecna's evolution, creating everything practically would have been a logistical nightmare. He and Maher's teams had lengthy early conversations to prevent overbuilding the prosthetics. Jamie worked with Gower to ensure that even with less full-body coverage during shooting, Vecna still maintained the menacing presence he had when Jamie first stepped onto set in Season 4. Gower added shoulder pads to the costume, along with 2 large blocks on the sides of the suit, so Jamie's arms naturally sat farther from his body, ensuring Vecna retained an organically threatening gait. Costume designer Amy Paris made sure Jamie had 3-inch rises in his shoes, so Vecna towered over the other characters. The makeup application itself became a ritual. Jamie would play what he described as gothy folk, black metal, music that grew faster and more hardcore as the hours passed. Gower revealed that at the start of the process, Jamie would crack jokes and be himself, but as they neared the end, they would start to lose Jamie. Vecna's voice would start coming out. By the end of the process, it was Vecna talking to them, not Jamie anymore. But that even got deeper in Season 5, which is very insane, as the body transformation has one of the most insane stories behind it. The attention to detail style extended to the smallest elements. The team coated Jamie with KY lubricant to give Vecna that slick, upside-down appearance. The prosthetics needed to look glossy, as moist and wet as the rest of the upside down. Gower recalled it was basically gloopy lube, which made the prosthetics gleam under studio lights and gave the paint job a really nice ping, making everything look vibrant. The concept artist Michael Maher's designs drew inspiration from nature and human trauma. The team examined various sea life and studied bruising on people with severe knocks to the skin, incorporating greens, blues, and purples into the color palette. They wanted Vecna to feel like he belonged in the upside down while still maintaining a connection to his human origins. But the season 5 new look is driven by a different, darker story, which we will now break down. The real reason Vecna looks so different in season 5 comes directly from what happened to him at the end of season 4, when Nancy Wheeler, Steve Harrington, and Robin Buckley tracked Vecna to his lair in the Upside Down. They launched a devastating attack. Steve and Robin shot him repeatedly. Nancy unloaded multiple shotgun blasts into his body at point-blank range. Then they set him on fire. Jamie explained that Vecna suffered a fall and was almost burned alive. The injuries from that assault changed him fundamentally. His new appearance is a byproduct of that trauma, combined with spending even more time in the Upside Down's toxic environment. The Duffer Brothers wanted audiences to understand that Vecna didn't just survive that attack. He evolved because of it. He became more resentful and hideous within that process and within the world he was thrown into. The extended exposure to the Upside Down's abnormal lightning and toxic atmosphere accelerated his transformation from anything resembling humans into pure monsters. Barry Gower revealed the creative philosophy behind the changes in an interview. They wanted to make Vecna on steroids for the final season, but they specifically didn't want to do it in the cliche, bigger and bulkier way. Instead, they made him skinnier and more exposed. The vines overtaking his body have that Medusa-like appearance near his head and shoulders, functioning as armor, while the rest of him looks stripped down, raw, and damaged. This new look wasn't just about making him scarier, it was about showing the cost of his near-death experience and subsequent healing process in a hostile dimension. Every visible change tells part of that story. The upward-pointing vines represent aggressive growth, his body fighting to repair itself. The slimmer waist shows tissue loss and transformation. The more prominent branches and roots illustrate how he's becoming less human and more of the Upside Down itself. Matt Duffer teased that they've been calling him Vecna 2.0 because he's changed. He's stronger and scarier than ever, with new real-world abilities. In season 4, he was deadly because he could infiltrate minds and mentally manipulate people. Now he can physically dominate in truly violent ways. One of the season 5 posters also hints at another crucial body transformation that many people overlooked. Vecna's face appears in a red cloud, looking mostly similar to season 4, but with one notable difference. One of his eyes is obscured by the cloud, suggesting he may have lost that eye from the injuries sustained during Nancy's attack. Given Stranger Things' long-running Dungeons & Dragons parallels, this ties into the Eye of Vecna, a powerful magical artifact from D&D lore. However, Jamie emphasized how much he loved collaborating with Gower's team on the new design. It was such a joy making sure everything they needed was there, adding extra layers and details onto the suit to ensure that when he stepped onto set, that presence was felt. The transformation reflects not just physical damage, but Vecna's psychological state. He's angrier, more determined, more monstrous in every sense. Based on Jamie's comments, any chance of redeeming Vecna or turning him toward a more benevolent outlook is completely gone. Season 4 made his view of the world clear, and earlier seasons showed villains finding redemption as they distanced themselves from the Mind Flayer and other upside-down forces. But not this time, because Vecna's new design is a sign of an even darker turn, a point of no return. The comparison to Groot isn't just superficial. Like the Guardians of the Galaxy character, Vecna now wields his tree-like body as a weapon, extending branches to grab, impale, and destroy. But where Groot represents life and growth, Vecna embodies decay and death. His organic appearance serves as a twisted mirror of natural beauty, showing what happens when psychic power and rage fuse with an alien dimension's corrupting influence. When episode 4 of Volume 1 ends, Vecna emerges from the military-controlled gate with a horde of demogorgons, looking more powerful and terrifying than ever. The transformation is complete. He's no longer the wounded creature who barely escaped Nancy's assault. He's evolved into something far worse, and Hawkins is about to discover precisely what Vecna on steroids can do.